There was a quiet danger about Mike McCallum. No wild entrances. No headline-grabbing drama. Just a man who stepped through the ropes and made it known, without yelling, without showboating, that you were in trouble. He didn't need the crowd's roar or flashy footwork to make a name for himself. He used something better: precision, timing, patience. And when the time came, he dug to the body like no one else. Left hook, right hook, each shot a slow knife to the ribs. They called him the body snatcher, and once he locked onto your core, it was only a matter of time. Mike wasn't built like the stars of the sport. He wasn't carried by a big promoter or hyped by the networks. He had to break down doors just to be seen, and when they finally looked, they couldn't ignore him. The man from Jamaica didn't just beat good fighters. He outclassed them, and when they swung for his chin, it was like aiming at a brick wall. No one stopped him, not once. But long before the titles and big fights, Mike was putting in work far away from the cameras. His rise began in the shadows, sweating in gyms across the islands, then earning his stripes across the Americas. He took losses on the way, sure. Clint Jackson beat him in Havana. Reinhard Skrycek edged him in Montreal. Andres Aldama knocked him out cold. But those setbacks didn't finish him. They sharpened him. In 77 and 78, Mike lit up the amateur scene. Golden Gloves, Pan Am medals, Commonwealth gold. He grabbed them all. He beat Marlon Starling and Roger Leonard in the same weekend. Took out Robbie Sims and Doug DeWitt when no one gave him a chance. This was no overnight rise. It was built on years of grind and quiet fire. Then came the pro run. From 1981 onward, he became a puzzle few could solve. He took the WBA Super Welterweight title in '84 and held it with an iron grip. Beat guys like Julian Jackson, Donald Curry, Milton McCrory, men with power and speed. They all fell short. Why? Because Mike McCallum was sharper, smarter, meaner to the body. He moved up in weight, took on all comers, and kept winning. The WBA middleweight title followed. Then the WBC light heavyweight crown. 3 divisions, no easy fights, no ducking. Still, even in greatness, the spotlight avoided him. Too quiet, too technical, too dangerous for promoters to risk their stars. But the fighters knew. Ask James Toney, who went through 12 rounds of hell to get a draw. Ask Roy Jones Jr., who felt the sting of McCallum's skill at 40 years old. McCallum's legacy was built without the loudness boxing often rewards. His record tells a story. Never stopped, never broken. He outlasted eras. From Sugar Ray Leonard's peak to Roy Jones Jr.'s rise, Mike McCallum stayed relevant. And when the International Boxing Hall of Fame called in 2003, it was no surprise to those who had really been watching. Mike McCallum didn't need bright lights or dramatic speeches. He needed a ring, a man across from him, and a little time. The body would fall. The legend would rise. Quietly, surely, like a storm no one saw coming. He didn't come to entertain. He came to win. When Mike McCallum stepped through the ropes, he wasn't there to show off or play to the crowd. He was there for one reason: hurt the man in front of him. And he did it in a way that left his opponents broken and breathless. Not with wild punches or wild talk. With short, sharp shots to the ribs, the gut, the liver. Quiet punishment. Steady work. The kind of pain that made even the toughest fold. They called him the body snatcher. Once he found your core, he stayed there until your strength was gone. Mike turned pro in 1981. No fanfare. No major hype. Just a fighter with sharp tools and a chip on his shoulder. Most of his fights took place in the U.S., far from his roots in Jamaica. But he brought something with him that didn't care about borders. A style built on timing, power, and control. In 1984, he got his first shot at gold. Sean Mannion stood across the ring. By the end of the night, Mike had the WBA Super Welterweight belt around his waist. And that was only the beginning. He defended that title 6 times. Knocked out every single challenger. 6 in, 6 out. Then came Julian Jackson. Undefeated. Heavy hands. Dangerous. Jackson came out swinging. Hurt McCallum early. But Mike didn't panic. He weathered the storm and took Jackson out in the second round. A message was sent. More names followed. Bigger names. Milton McCrory. Donald Curry. Curry was slick, fast, smart, and winning on all 3 scorecards. Then McCallum found a gap, and with one smooth left hook, it was over. That punch didn't just end the fight. It raised eyebrows. People started paying attention. He wasn't just a tough fighter. He was a problem. In 1988, he moved up to middleweight and took his first loss against McCallum. Clean decision. No excuses. McCallum took it on the chin, like everything else in his career. And then he came back, beat Harold Graham to win the WBA middleweight title, defended it against Steve Collins, Michael Watson, and even avenged the Callum loss in a rematch. He didn't chase easy fights. He faced James Toney twice in back-to-back classics. First was a draw. Second was close. Some said too close. McCallum, always calm, let others do the talking. Then, in his late 30s, he moved up again. Light heavyweight, won the WBC title by outpointing Jeff Harding. Still sharp, still dangerous. By the time he faced Roy Jones Jr. at age 40, Mike was no longer in his prime. But he never backed away. Never once was he stopped. Not in 55 fights, not by anyone. When he finally hung up the gloves, he did it with 49 wins, 36 by knockout. He never quit, never got knocked out. And long after his last punch was thrown, his work still echoed. Fighters respected him. Trainers studied him. Fans who knew the sport knew exactly who Mike McCallum was. In 2003, boxing gave him his due. The Hall of Fame welcomed him in. Quietly, of course. Just like he fought. No flash. Just fire. On May 31st, 2025, Mike McCallum passed away, closing the chapter on one of boxing's most respected and underrated careers. He was 69. News of his death rippled through the boxing world. Not with the noise reserved for superstars, but with the quiet weight of deep respect. Fighters, trainers, and fans who truly understood the sport knew what they had lost. A craftsman, a warrior, a man who never needed to shout to be heard. McCallum's death marked the end of a life spent in and around the ring. Even after retiring from fighting, he never left the sport behind. He became a trainer in Las Vegas, passing his knowledge to the next generation, teaching them how to stay calm under fire, how to find the body, how to win without wasting energy. He wasn't the most famous name in boxing, but he was one of the most respected. He fought everyone, ducked no one, and held world titles in 3 divisions. He beat some of the best, went the distance with others, and never once hit the canvas for a count. That chin held firm. That body stayed sharp. That style, clean, smart, and punishing, stood the test of time. His passing is a reminder of how boxing often forgets its quiet killers. The ones who did the hard work, took the tough fights, and let their fists do the talking. Mike McCallum may be gone, but his name will always live in the corners of old gyms, in the grainy tapes that young fighters study, and in the memories of those who saw him work. He wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. He was just good, damn good, and the sport will miss him.